All right, well, I feel like the last test review, or I guess test makeup video, went really well, so we're gonna try this one more time. I'm gonna walk you through the problem that you missed, show you what you did wrong, or maybe what you forgot to do, the mistake you made, and then I'm gonna give you a new problem at the end that you need to solve to show me that you learned from your mistake. So, number one, the first one, 1A, isn't on the paper here, but we'll write it down at the bottom anyway. 1A, all you had to do was list what the shape was called. And if I look at this shape, it's a prism. Obviously, it's not a pyramid. And the base of the prism is a rectangle. So it's a rectangular prism. And that's part one. Part B, find the surface area. So I'm going to look for all the different surfaces. I'm going to start with the front and the back. And I think what made a lot of confusion on this problem was this number right here, 1 1/5, that fraction. But it's just like any other number. I've got this rectangle that's 1 1/5 wide and it's 3 tall. So I'm going to do 1 1/5 multiplied by 3. And on your calculator, if you remember, to do a mixed number, here's the fraction button, but you have to do second and then the fraction button. It'll give you a 1 1/5 mixed number, so you can put in 1 1/5, and then I times that by 3, and I get 18/5, which I don't really like. I'm going to use a decimal today just to make my numbers look a little bit nicer, and I get 3.6. So the front is 3.6, and the back is 3.6 because they're the same shape. Then I'm going to move on. I'm going to go ahead and do the bottom. And I'm going to do the top because, again, those are the same shape. And the bottom is 1 1/5 wide, and it's 5 deep. So I need to do 1 1/5 times 5, which is just 6. And the top and the bottom are the same, so the other one is 6 as well. And now I've only got two sides left. I've got the left, this side over here, and I've got the right. And this is the easy side because it's 5 deep, it's 5 going this way, and it's 3 tall. So I just do 5 times 3, and I get 15. And there's 2 of those. So I do 5 times 3 again, and I get 15. Now that I have all the sides, all I have to do is add them together. 3.6 plus 3.6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 15 plus 15. And when you add all those together, you get 49.2 yards, and it's square yards. Now, if you made a mistake on that one and you need to fix this problem, I don't want you to just do this problem. You need to do a new problem. I just did it for you. The new problem, instead of 1 1/5, we're going to change this to 2 1/4. And instead of 5 yards, we're going to change this to 8 yards. And instead of 3 yards tall, it's going to be 4 yards tall. So using those new numbers, I want you to solve the same problem. All right, part C is to find the volume of this shape. And to find the volume, first thing we look for is the area of the base. And my base is this rectangle. That's what's being stacked up. And I'm going to look for big B. I'm looking for the area of that shape, which is 1 1/5 multiplied by 5, which I already did over here, so I know that that is 6. So my area of my base is 6. And if you remember, volume equals big B times the height of the object. And the height of my object is 3. There's 3 of those rectangles stacked on top of each other. So volume equals 6 times 3, which again is a nice easy number for you. All you get is 18 yards cubed. So 18 cubic yards. And you're done there. Same thing, if you missed that one, I want you to do a new problem with 2 1/4, 8, and 4 yards. Solve the new problem, show me that you learned from your mistake. All right, number two, I guess. 2A, name the shape. The base of this shape is a triangle. That's what's being stacked up. That's the shape of the saltine. So it's a triangular prism. And I gave you the prism part. All you needed to put in was the triangular part. So we're gonna look for the different sides. Let's go ahead and start with that triangle since we're already talking about it. The bottom and the top are both triangles and they're both the same. And my 90 degree is in this corner, which means I'm going to use this length and this length to find the area of the triangle. So 9 is here, 10 is here. 9 times 10, but it's a triangle, so I need to divide that by 2. 9 times 10 is 90, divided by 2 is 45, which is also the same as the top. A lot of you made a mistake that you thought both of these sides were 10. I'm not sure why. I thought the picture was pretty obvious that this is 9 and this is 10, but I don't, if you just assumed they were the same, and that caused some of you to make a mistake. All right, so let's do this right-hand side right here. And we're gonna do it in yellow because we need 4 colors for this one. And I know this one's a little bit hard to see, but that's just a rectangle. It's 10 wide and it's 9 tall. So 10 times 9 equals 90. I don't have to cut that one in half because it's not a triangle, it's a rectangle. And then on the left-hand side, I've got this rectangle. And again, a lot of you thought these were the same rectangle. This one's not. This one is 9 wide and 9 tall. So this one is 9 times 9, which is 81, which leaves me with just one shape. And this one got missed a little bit because it's this weird one in the back that's, I guess it's not weird, it's just hard to see because it's in the back and you've already outlined it, and maybe it's kind of hard to see that rectangle in the back. Well, that rectangle is 13.5 wide and it's 9 inches tall. So we have to do 13.5 times 9 and we get 121.5. I hope. I feel like that's what it is. Now I've got all 5 sides and I just need to add all of those together. I need to do 45 plus 90 plus 81 plus 121.5, and when I add all those together, I get 382.5 yards squared. And that's the area of my surface. Now, just like the other problems, if you got this one wrong, don't solve this problem. I just solved it for you. Instead of 9, I'm going to have you use 6. Instead of 10, I'm going to have you use 7. We'll change this 9 to a 6 as well. And instead of 13.5 inches on top, we're going to change that one to 10.5. So use those numbers, solve the new problem. I know it's the same shape. That's probably simpler than I should do for you. But solve that same problem. Show me that you learned from your mistake. In part C, we need to find the surface area, or excuse me, volume, which means I need the base. I need my big B. And my base is this triangle. That's what's being stacked up over and over and over again. This triangle on the bottom. So my saltines are shaped like a triangle. And my triangle is 9 by 10. But it's a triangle, so I have to divide that by 2, just like on surface area. So the area of my base is 45. So my volume, which is base times height, and my height right here is 9. So volume equals 45 multiplied by 9, which is equal to 405. And we got inches cubed. How come over here I did yards? That was a mistake. That should be inches as well. 405 inches cubed gives me how much space is on the inside of that shape. So again, if you missed it, instead of 9, you're going to use 6. Instead of 10, you're going to use 7. Instead of this 9, we'll use 6. And instead of 13.5, I'm going to have you use 10.5. So use that new shape and do the best that you can. All right, moving on to the back. We've got another shape here. It's a pyramid this time. So for part 3A, all pyramids are triangles on the side. That's just part of what makes it a pyramid. But this one, the base is what we care about. And this base is in the shape of a square. So this one we would call a square pyramid or a rectangular pyramid. And we need to find surface area, which should go pretty easy because it's just finding the area of the base, first of all. So I've got this base down here, which is just a square. When I find the area of that, it's 4 wide and 4 deep. So 4 times 4 equals 16. There's the area of my base. Then I find the area of my triangles on the side. And here's where some of you made a mistake, because the triangles are not 5.7 tall. The pyramid is 5.7 tall, but the triangle right here is 6 tall, and it's 4 wide. So the triangles are 4 by 6, but they're triangles, so I have to divide that by 2, which is just 12. And there's 4 sides, and all of them are the same, so I should have 12, 12, 12, and 12. And I'm done. So I add all these together. 16 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12, and that's going to give me 64 centimeters squared for my surface area. Now, if you missed this problem, instead of 4, I want you to do the same shape, but with a square base with a side of 11. And instead of 6 tall, this is going to be 18. And instead of 5.7 here, you're going to use 16.4. All right, moving on to volume. Again, it's finding the area of big B, finding the area of the base, this square right here. And this square, the area we already found on this problem, but the area is 4 times 4, which is 16. So that's the area of my base, and if I want to know how many of those are stacked up, I've got to use this number right here. That's how tall my pyramid is, that's how many of those are stacked up. So my volume, which equals big base times the height, is going to be big base 16 times my height, which is 5.7. And when I multiply those together, I get 16 times 5.7 gives me 91.2. And again, this is where a lot of you made a mistake, because it's a pyramid. So after I do 16 times 5.7, I have to divide that by 3, because it's not a prism, it's a pyramid. So my volume becomes 91.2 divided by 3, and a lot of you gave me that as your answer. You forgot to divide by 3. But it's 30.4 centimeters cubed. Should be your final answer. So again, if you missed this problem, change the 4 to an 11, change the 6 to an 18, and change the 5.7 to a 16.4. Do the same process, see what you get. All right, 4. Part 1 was to write what these shapes are called. Well, this one on the bottom is just a rectangular prism or a square prism, and the shape on the top is a pyramid, but the base of the pyramid is also a rectangle or square. So that one is also a rectangular pyramid or a square pyramid. Now for part 2, we need to find the surface area. And again, the shape looks really messy, but it's a pretty simple shape to use, because this side right here is the same as the back and the left and the front. All 4 of those sides are the same. All 4 of these are the same shape. And they're all squares. They're all just 6 by 6, which equals 36. And there's 4 of them, so I'm going to write that 4 more times. 36, 36, 36, 36. Those aren't 6 by 6. See what happens when you start going too fast? Those squares are 6 wide and they're 3 tall. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. So there's 6 times 3, which is just 18, and there's 4 of them. All right, so don't make that mistake that I almost made. That was a close one. Now let's go ahead and do the bottom of the shape. Let's do this piece right here. It's 6 by 6. That's where my 6 and my 6 come in. So it's 6 by 6, which is 36. But there's only one of them, because this one above it is on the inside of the shape. And I don't want to use that. I want to use the one on the bottom, because it's on the outside. So I've only got one of those squares. And now I'm going to use my triangles. I'm going to find these triangles on the side of the shape. And if you read in the directions, it told you that the triangle was 6 units tall. Now, I didn't put that on the picture because it was kind of hard to put it on the picture without looking like a mess and being confusing. So I put that in the instructions. But that triangle is 6 units wide and it's 6 units tall. So it's 6 times 6, which is 36. But it's a triangle, so we have to remember to divide that one by 2. So the triangles have the same area as that rectangle. So 4 of those triangles gives me 18, 18, 18, and 18. Now I just need to add all these together. So I've got 4 18s and a 36 and 4 more 18s. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of 18s. So instead of, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 18s. So I'm actually going to do 18 times 8 instead of adding that 8 times. And then I've got to add 36. And I get 180. So 180 feet, I'll make sure I get my units right this time, 180 feet squared. Now volume. I've got 2 shapes that are just put together, so I've got to find the volume of each shape. So this first shape, we'll start with the rectangle or the rectangular prism here on the bottom. It's 6 by 6, so big B is 6 by 6, which is 36. Sorry, my pencil's getting kind of dull. And it's 3 units tall. So volume equals 36 times 3, which is 108. But that just gives me the prism on the bottom. Some of you treated this like it was one shape and you just did the height of the whole thing, but there's 2 different shapes. I've got the bottom shape, now I've got to find the top shape. And my top shape is a rectangular pyramid, and the bottom of the rectangular pyramid is right here. That's the bottom of my shape. Which is also 6 by 6. So big B for the pyramid is also 6 by 6, which is 36. And my height is 4, right there in the middle. So volume equals 36 times 4, but it's a pyramid, so then I have to divide that by 3. And I get 48. So I've got the top volume, I've got the bottom volume, now I've got to add those together. 108 plus 48 equals 156 feet cubed. All right, now these 2 problems, if you got them wrong, you need to put in new numbers. Instead of 6, you're going to use 9. Instead of 3, we're going to use 5. And instead of the height in the middle being 4, we're going to use 6. And the height of the triangles on the outside will also be 9. So over here, this is 9, this is 9, this is 5, the height of the pyramid is 6, and the height of the triangle, this height right here, is going to be 9 as well, even though we don't use it in that problem. Now, as far as the last question goes, that was a bonus. That was something you were supposed to take the time and learn on your own. Hopefully you did, and you did well, but that's not one you can make up. So, fix what you did wrong. Make sure you write a sentence to let me know what mistake you made the first time, and good luck.